Hello everybody, happy Sunday and happy 2026. Here we are, the new year. It's our first intention, our first meditation of the week and of the year. Hope you all have had a wonderful holiday season, however you do or do not celebrate, however that hits you. So yeah, wishing lots and lots of blessings for everybody coming into this year, of course. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the intention up here. Here's our intention for this week. They're always released on Friday, usually later on in the day. I've mentioned before that it's just not, the intention coming through is just one of those things that I can rush. So I have just given to the will of the universe that the intention will come about when it comes about. So there's not like a set time that it's released. Just you can expect it before the weekly videos are released on Saturday morning. So here's our intention for this week. Dualities and new forms mingle. Dualities and new forms mingle. Sit with that for just a moment if you'd like. See what comes up, if anything. Any thoughts, any feelings, any emotions. Personally, I think it's a nice one to start the year off with. Dualities and new forms mingle. All right, this is a big week. We've been talking about it for a little while, or at least alluding to it or whatever. Full moon and sign of Cancer came through the weekend, so hopefully that was good for you all. If you have anything specific there, feel free to drop it in the comments or say hi or whatnot, but you don't have to either. Just being here in your own space, that's the best part about these virtual meditations. I really, really like in-person things, but these virtual ones, you can take what works for you, leave the rest, and you can participate in whatever capacity that you are willing or want to or anything like that. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into what we have going on this week. We have the Mars and Venus Cazimis, it's opposite Jupiter. The Sun is going to be opposite Jupiter, so there's a whole lot of Capricorn things going on here. So yeah, looking at the comments. Melissa, Miranda, good to see you guys. And yeah, good feelings for this year for sure. I like to always start that off like positive, right? And try to look into like what good things can we feel coming into this year. But you know, there's always a mixed bag with every year, right? For all of us personally, individually, also collectively too. You know, there's like, it's always, I feel like we have some years that are more positive than others and some that maybe are a little bit less enjoyable than others, but really it's usually a mixed bag, right? The astrology reflects that, but the last quarter of 2025, all the water, right? All the water trines that we've had going on, like there's been a lot of things that have been rocked for people. Doesn't mean it's all bad. You know, healing and lots of connecting and deep things, deeply emotionally tied things have been stimulated for a lot of people, like back to October. So I think starting off this year with these nice resets that we have here are really, really, really nice here. So yeah, let's go ahead and put the chart up and we're going to go ahead and talk about all of that. I'm going to go ahead and put up the chart for the moment. If this is overwhelming, look away, right? Again, take what works and leave what does not. So right now the moon is in the sign of Leo, and from my location, it's kind of just starting to, it's just rising. It's just over the ascendant, which is the eastern horizon. That's going to be a little bit different for each and every one of us. But personally, with being that this can be looked at as like the birth chart of the meditation, since it's from my location, I like that we have the moon in the first house because it just brings a little deeper connection to our felt experiences. It brings in a little bit more of an emotional connection. It just feels a little bit more intimate with that going on here. Let's go ahead and shift our focus over to the Capricorn area of this chart, okay? Look at the 6th house. So if you don't know where the 6th house is, find the numbers in the center there. You start with 1 on the left side there in the rising position, and if you follow it around counterclockwise there, you'll find the 6th house and you'll see Capricorn on the ascent, on the cusp of the 6th house there. I use whole house sign system, so you're going to get 1 sign per house. There's not going to be any mixing and mingling of multiple signs within one house in this house system that I use. But notice the buildup of planets that we have here, right? We've been talking about how the energy has really shifted to a Capricorn focus. So those of us that have heavy Capricorn placements, there's a lot going on there for all of us there right now. So we got Mercury, we have Venus, we have Sun, we have Mars. Look where Venus and the Sun are. They're sitting together in their moment, getting ready for the Cazimi moment that's going to come through here this week. They are sitting together at 14 degrees. They are going to meet exactly on Tuesday at 16 degrees, but they are traveling together very, very closely within the same degree here for a couple days. Let's go ahead and bring this forward, and you can see that Mars is at 15 degrees. So these planets are traveling closely, right? Here we have them together at 15 degrees tomorrow. Here we have them together at 16 degrees. This is going to be the exact Cazimi moment, but we are in that energy right now, okay? So you have Sun and Venus coming together here. And then if we go forward just slightly off of that, you'll see that Venus and Mars come together. They're at 18 degrees. You can really look at all of this happening simultaneously or all at once. And then we go forward one more day. This takes us to Thursday the 8th. We have Sun and Mars coming together. So this is the Mercury Cazimi coming through, or the Mars Cazimi coming through. Anytime a planet comes into contact with the Sun, into a conjunction, it's a resetting moment for that planet. So both Mars and Venus are going through their resetting moment. If you look at opposition, is the opposite end of this chart, you'll see Jupiter at 20 degrees of Cancer. So these conjunctions, these Cazimis, they are happening in opposition to Jupiter. All three of these planets, Sun, Mars, and Venus, are all going to go through that opposition to Jupiter here this week, okay? So that's a lot we have going on here. It's a lot all at one time, but it's really, really cool and really interesting happening here at the beginning of the year here. So we have all of these different planets that are coming together here at the same time, right? They are starting their new synodic cycles. So it's a resetting moment and it's a new cycle starting for both Venus and Mars this week. They each have their own cycles. They don't always line up where their Cazimis happen at the same time. In fact, I don't know that it happens very often. I can't say that I looked back and saw the last time that it did happen, but it's not, we don't normally get these triple conjunctions with all of these planets coming together. But this cycle happens to come together this time together here, right? So both of these planets that represent separate things, that are opposites in a lot of ways, but attract to each other in a lot of ways too. Venus represents the things that we desire, right? Love, beauty, harmony, relationships. Venus can represent women, where Mars can represent a masculine energy, right? So you have the feminine versus the masculine here. Venus likes to bring things together, likes cohesion or balance and harmony and things working well together and peacefulness. And Mars can represent war, separation, severing, cutting, aggression, things being pulled apart, where Venus represents things coming together. So they're opposites in a lot of ways, but they're partners that dance, right? It's the lovers that dance back and forth, and they come together and then they move apart because they balance each other. They need each other in a way, right? So think about these different opposing energies and forces within your own lives. They can be people, they can be thoughts, they can be energies and emotions, but different contradicting things and how they can balance each other in different ways, okay? So they're very, very different. But they're both at a point where they're starting a new cycle. So they're very different, but they're coming together in a moment where they are both starting a new cycle or a new path, okay? So they are on their own paths, they are on their own cycles and their own timings. But at this moment where they both have this sensitive moment of insight, because the Cazimi can bring clarity, where maybe, I mentioned this in the weekly video, where the time where the planet is under the beams of the sun can feel a little foggy or a little clouded, where we're not quite able to maybe see the path very clearly, but then the Cazimi moment comes and there's a little bit of an insight that comes through here, right? So these two planets are coming together and they're able to help each other, perhaps. Specifically, Mars helping Venus, I feel like, because Mars in the sign of Capricorn is in one of its signs. It's a sign of exaltation, so it's not its home sign that it rules, but it's the next best place for Mars to be, okay? So Mars is in one of its places, and when it is, and it's under the beams of the sun, it is protected from that fogginess, from the not being able to see clearly. It's like it's blocked from the rays of the sun. So it's like it's holding an umbrella, or it has its sunglasses on, or it's sitting underneath a tree, right? Where maybe up until the Cazimi moment, maybe Venus, you know, like doesn't have her sunblock and she's standing out in the sun. So she's still there and she's still in the beautiful place, but she's affected a little bit differently because she doesn't have the protection that Mars does. So these two planets are able to come together and they're able to help each other in different ways. So these separate cycles or journeys are forming separately, but then they're coming together. I think it's interesting that we have Mars moving from the morning star phase, or sorry, from the evening star phase to the morning star phase, and we have Venus moving from morning star to evening star phase. Mercury will go ahead and make the same transition that Venus is. So this is another difference, but again, they're coming together. So if we separate this by cycles and just look at the planets on their own, Mars moving towards the Venus star, or the morning star phase, may be a little bit more pioneering. It may feel a little bit more youthful. It may want to start and initiate things that are a little bit something that we haven't experienced before, right? It wants to move into a new type of energy. Maybe it's a little bit more experimental and it's willing to try things that it hasn't done before, okay? You can think about this in the youthful aspect of the morning star phase for the planets. Venus, this is the space Venus has been in. She's been in that experimental phase. So she has been gaining experiences, right? Now she's moving to the evening star phase. Now she has a little bit more wisdom and a little bit more experience about her and a little bit more learned through life experiences that she's had. So she maybe has a little bit more underneath her belt, so to say. So Mars can help Venus because it's protected from being under the beams of the sun by being in the virtue of its own chariot. So it hasn't had that weakened moment. However, Venus, I feel like, can help Mars in a way because when you have that evening star phase interacting with a new birthing morning star phase, even if the evening star phase is birthing as well, I'm wondering about how she can lend her experience or her knowledge or what she has gained from what she's went through and help Mars with it, right? So you see the different way these dualities can mingle this week, and there's different ways where they're going to dance together and they're going to dance apart here. All of this is in opposition to Jupiter. So while there is this very strong starting and initiating and new cycles that are forming, those are the drums that are definitely being banged this week for sure. There is, maybe not right at the forefront, but there is an energy there of that Jupiter in Cancer, which is that not protector, that's not the word I want to use, that guiding motherly or grandmotherly energy, right? That knowledge or wisdom that comes from the origins. It can come from ancestry, but it doesn't have to. It can come from our own origins and our own experiences, our own memory body, right? And our own awareness, and whether it's conscious or unconscious of our own conditionings, right? That can be the space that it comes from. But while we are starting new places and we are moving into new phases, we have the wisdom of Jupiter saying, hey, what is the true connection to this? Are we initiating simply because it's the new year and we feel like we should be setting resolutions because that's what everybody does, is everybody buys a new planner and, like, you know, nice new shiny pens and, like, buys the gym membership? Not that there's anything wrong with any of that. In fact, I encourage all of that stuff. But, you know, are we doing it because we feel like we should be doing it, or are we doing it because there's a deeper connection and a deeper meaning to it, right? These dualities that are coming together, Mars and Venus, you know, Cazimi moments here. they have the ability to bring about new forms, and they are in the sign of Capricorn, which is willing to put in the work, willing to put in the effort, and willing to climb that mountain. However, is the mountain that you're climbing worth climbing? And if so, then we keep climbing that mountain, but maybe we need to remind ourselves of the reason. Maybe we need to remind ourselves of the purpose that is like within here, right? What is that smaller, not smaller as insignificant, but that small little spark that's within you that's being lit? Is it being lit, or do you need to relight that, right? Kind of like that. Are we creating forms simply because we feel like we should be able to, and we're moving within the emotions in that way? Or are we creating things in the sign of Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, that are immovable? It's an earth sign, right? That are practical, yet fills us up in ways that these forms and structures are going to last a long time, and they are going to set the road and pave the way that we are going, right? Kind of like that. So I see there is definitely the energy to initiate new things. Look where Capricorn is within your chart. What planets do you have there? What house does it occupy? What are the topics of that house? And think about what has been forming and initiating for you. Where is there a new and an old, maybe, that are coming together? Thinking about that morning star and evening star phase. You might not start seeing it right away here. You might not even see it in January. Look into the beginning of February, maybe even to the middle of February, as these planets emerge from underneath the beams of the sun, and then it comes more into view, right? Kind of like that. Mercury is going to have Cazimi moment too, but that's going to happen in the sign of Aquarius. It's going to happen conjunct Pluto. We'll talk about that in the future in a few weeks when it comes up here. But I feel like with all three of our personal planets, Mercury being our mind, Mars being our motivations, and Venus being our desires and what we really, really want, going through this Cazimi moment, the last one being Mars and being Mercury, the mind, conjunct Pluto, there's a potential for what is starting to transpire here, and what is taking form, these new forms that are emerging and that are mingling together, because there might be multiple things in multiple different areas of life coming together. There's a possibility for it to really transform our mental sphere, right? So it might really transform our habits. It might really transform the way that we move, the way that we speak, the way that we hold ourselves, but all ending up here, right? So we have Venus first. She's the desire. She's the one that is kickstarting, I want this, I desire this. Mars comes through, the motivations, the ambitions, the actions, right? I'm going to do this. Mercury, I've made up my mind about this. I am keeping it this way, right? So then we keep that mental agility of, whatever space we need to be in to keep it going like that. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to this week. But starting the seats, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to feel it all right away, right? Because let's just, so planets are under the beams of the sun. I know I said a little bit of this during the weekly videos, but planets are under the beams of the sun until they're about 15 degrees away. So let's just go ahead and just follow this forward here, right? This is next week here. The planets are still just a couple degrees away. We have, Venus is going to move January 17th into the sign of Aquarius. They're still only 3 degrees away from each other. They're still sitting really close. So this may take some time. Notice they're all going to go through that conjunction with Pluto here. We're still looking in the 6th house here in this chart, but now we're looking in the sign of Aquarius. Yeah, they're still sitting right together here. So let's just bop forward several days. We're just going to keep on moving here, because I just want you to see what a process this is here. Okay, so this is February 9th, and we're, 8 degrees away from each other here. So really, it's not until Venus gets into the sign of Pisces that they're really going to start to separate here, right? Still. So we're still not even 15 degrees away from each other here. So yeah, we're getting to, I guess we're getting into the middle to the end of February before you're really going to start to see some of this. But that's the thing about Capricorn. Capricorn, oh, I'm flipping through, and you guys, I didn't even put the chart up so you guys could see it. I'm sorry, guys. Here I am, February 27th. Oh, I feel like a fool now here. Yeah, I just went through the whole thing, and anyways, I was just trying to illustrate how long it's going to take for these planets to really separate and make some room away from the sun here. So yeah, I guess if I just kind of like go back by weeks, let me just start here, and I'm not going to do this for too long because you all just watched me look silly on the camera here. But yeah, let's go ahead and just go forward like 1 week at a time here. And we'll see that it takes a while for these planets to actually make their way away from the sun. So here we are at the beginning of February, and there's Venus and the sun are still only 8 degrees away from each other. Mars is only, what, 7 degrees away from each other. At this point, Mercury has moved into the evening star phase as well. So then if we go forward here into, you know, like the beginning of March, we finally get them. So I was even a little bit off here. We get towards the end of February and towards the beginning of March before these planets really start to separate away from each other here, right? Mars maybe a little bit sooner, but I really just wanted to emphasize and just show what a process we have going on here, right? I think it's safe to say that some of what is starting and initiating has something to do with the grand water trine energy that came through. Yes, I know we talked about that for months and months and months, and you guys all thought I was done about it. But, you know, I really think that it's been starting a process for people, right? I talked about how the grand water trine was opening floodgates for lots of us, and that's just not something that you just walk away from, right? There needs to be restoration when water comes in and floods through, right? We need to handle it. We need to take care of the water, and we need to find ways to handle that water effectively, right? Are there any cracks that need to be filled? Is there anything that needs to be repaired? So for many people, especially with all of these Cazimis being opposite Jupiter, which was one of the stable legs of the grand water trine, and these are the personal planets that activated the grand water trine, I think some of what we are going to initiate has come through what we've experienced through the fall time. So starting and initiating, yes, but the intermingling, the coalescing, the dance between these planets, I think it's beautiful and a little poetic if you look at the fact that they are all traveling on their own path and they are passing by each other, right? They are coming near each other and they are saying hi and they are helping, but they are going to go on their own way after that, right? So I'm really seeing these as, I really like the word mingling, right? I'm thinking about like the flames of a fire. If you've ever watched a bonfire and you see how the different flames, they separate and then they come back together and they grow and they shrink, and there's this beautiful little dance. I see actual people dancing in the flames sometimes. Or like the blades of long meadow grass, right? Think of like a tall field grass, and like how when the wind goes, the blades, they dance and they sway in different directions and they come together and maybe they get caught, but then they separate and they pull away from each other. Think about the mingling that can happen on a dance floor, right? You're with a bunch of people that you know, friends, family, whatever, and you know there's all these people that are surrounding you that are all dancing and they're all kind of doing their own thing and, you know, moving their own way, but they may, you know, you kind of come together. Maybe you lock eyes for a minute and you're still doing your own little dance. Maybe you start to move towards each other, but then maybe you move towards somebody else, right? I'm just thinking of like a group communal interaction of some kind here, but all happening within our own space and individually for each and every one of us. So cool things, cool things. And then the card that came up today was the World card. I was like, well, that's pretty spot on, because I think of integration when I think of the World card here, right? I think about completion and I think about things coming together. I think about having all that you need within you, right? Or having the resources for all that you need to be able to come together. And that makes me think of the masculine and the feminine. That makes me think of Mars and Venus coming together here, right? At the time of their Cazimi. So support, This is integrative support is what this is for whatever it is that you have going on, the easy and the hard things. So let's go ahead and move into the meditation. I am really excited for the start of this year. I'm really excited for this week. All right, let's sit with our intention for just another moment before I take it off the screen. Dualities and new forms mingle. Dualities and new forms mingle. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take the intention down. And when I do so, you can see my table that I have. I have several feminine figures on my table. I think some of them were last week. I've added a couple other things. Yeah, I have a candle that is burning over here that I've been burning for a little while. It's actually kind of cool because it's got little astrological signs on it. And I have our intentional candle as always. It's white. Purity, cleansing, and a blank slate for you to create whatever it is that you need, right? We're coming together. We're looking at transits. We are meditating at the same time. You're all listening to me. We're all meditating together, but the experience is individual. Just as our charts are different, just as our lives are different, just as our experiences are different. The meditation is a personal conversation between you and the universe, you and your life, you and the astrology, right? Opening it up to a conversation. All right, so I'm going to light our intentional candle, and as I do so, I'm going to recite the intentional phrase. As I do, I encourage you to say it with me in whatever capacity that you are able to, whether that's saying it out loud, saying it in your head, writing it down, whatever works for you. So once more, dualities and new forms mingle. Okay, light the intentional candle. As I light the candle, the flame ignites. As the flame ignites, it begins to grow. As the flame grows, so does our intention. Dualities and new forms mingle. Dualities and new forms mingle. There is a beautiful dance going on in the sky, and there is a beautiful dance that is going on Earth. It's called life. All right, if you're ready to do so, well, actually, first, if you haven't already, find yourself a nice, comfortable position. Seated, laying down, standing, whatever works well for you. If you're cold, get a blanket, make yourself comfortable, grab a pillow, get comfy. And if you're ready to do so, I invite you to go ahead and close your eyes. If you're not quite ready to do so, that's okay. In fact, if you're not ready to close your eyes through this entire meditation, that's okay too. Perhaps you soften your gaze and allow your eyes to just kind of fall beyond the tip of your nose or wherever they naturally fall to rest comfortably. And we turn our attention towards our breath. As we move towards focusing on the breath, the first instinct may be to start to alter the breath. Deepen, lengthen, slow, altering the breath in any way that you feel. I'm going to encourage you to refrain from that for just a moment if you can. See if you can sit with the breath and observe how it moves naturally through your body. Feel the inhale, feel the exhale. Notice what you notice. If your attention begins to wander, gently call it back and remind the mind where you are. Notice what you notice. Gently bring your attention back if needed. Your breath is your connection to your own personal energy. And in that way, your breath is a result of your experiences, of your emotions, of your conditionings, of components of your conscious and subconscious mind. Therefore, every experience, everything through your life that has led you up to this moment plays into the quality of your breath. Therefore, in my mind, when we spend time observing, noticing, and acknowledging the breath without changing, without altering, we find ourselves in a space of honoring the breath, honoring the level of energy that you have brought with you to this space. And every level of energy, every variation is valid at that moment. So in turn, when we honor the breath, we honor the path, we honor the life, we honor our own universal energy. Honoring the dualities within our own lives. Now that you have taken some time to sit with the breath and acknowledge and notice, let's begin to deepen the breath. Here, allow your only goal to be that each inhale slightly deeper, slightly longer, and bringing in slightly more energy than the inhale that came before that. Conversely, allow your only goal on the exhale to be that with each breath you release slightly more air, slightly more tension, slightly bigger release than the exhale that came before that. Continuing the process of breathing in and breathing out in your own time, at your own pace. Slowly and gently deepening the breath. Which simultaneously deepens your connection to yourself, to the space around you. Our breath is our connection to the universe, to God, to the universal energy. Insert whatever terms work for you. That connection is there whether we are consciously aware of it or not, because our breath, the respiratory process of the human body, happens autonomically without our conscious awareness. Yes, we can make conscious changes within our awareness. We can deepen, we can lengthen and strengthen the breath. But the inhales and the exhales, they happen without us thinking about it. They happen 24 hours a day. Each time you breathe in and you inhale, you bring in energy from the ethers around you. That universal energy enters your body and enters your being, filling you up. Each time you exhale, you release some of your own life force, your own energy, your own prana from the depths of your being out into the ethers, out into the universe around you. That energy spreads near and far, smoothing out like your own individual energetic blanket, mingling with other energies as it comes across. Perhaps as you continue to deepen the breath, you start to picture that intermingling of your own energy and the universal God source energy. Again, insert whatever term works for you. Higher self, guides, ancestors, God, universe, something else. I want you to consider your most prominent experiences over the last few months. No exact time frame, not a specific thing that you're looking for, just what pops into your head. What have been your most profound, memorable experiences? Are there any of those experiences or emotions or events that really initiate something within you? Maybe a pull, maybe a motivation, maybe a new process has already started. Perhaps a little bit more recently, consider where you can see old forms and new forms maybe starting to come together. If you're not exactly sure, that's okay too. your focus where it's at. And perhaps picture where you could see these experiences taking you. Picture in your mind's eye the moments that are coming to your mind. Now picture either where you see or where you would like these experiences to take you. What new forms, what new processes, what new pathways, what new motivations, what new desires. Perhaps the new forms that are mingling within your brain right now were already starting to seed, which is what initiated some of the experiences or the profound moments. See it playing out in the most positive and beneficial way that you can. Picture it, feel it, smell it, taste it. What is initiating within you? Where is the pull? Where are the seeds? Or if you don't have clarity of where you're going, where would you like to go? What are the seeds you would like to plant? Plant them now. Start and initiate them now. Take this ideal image, take this experience that you're having, gather it into your mind's eye, keep it with you at all times. Now, to any process, there are two parts. There is our part and there is the universe's part. Again, insert whatever word works for you. So take these experiences, integrated into your third eye, into your mind. And notice in front of you that there is a small light that feels close yet somewhat in the distance. The longer you look at this light, you notice that it begins to grow. Once it grows somewhat in size, you notice that this isn't necessarily just a light, but an opening, a curious opening. So you step towards the opening, still this beautiful bright light shining through. And as you gaze through the opening, you see the intermingling of different colors, different shapes, different molds and different forms. Notice what you notice. This week, as Mars and Venus go through their resetting moment together, two different paths coming together, Jupiter stands in opposition. The pendulum swings back and forth from us to a greater knowledge body that surrounds each and every one of us. A deep, sensitive wisdom. And as you continue to see the forms mingling, taking shape, perhaps dissipating before taking a new form again, perhaps moving into very solid forms, there is a message to be heard, one of insight, one of knowledge, one of understanding, perhaps one of comfort and care. Creating a safe space to grow from. Noticing what you notice and bringing your attention back as many times as you need to. This week, there are certainly new beginnings, seeding moments. But there's also an intermingling of different energies, nodding at each other as they move within their own dance. Once again, thinking of the flames of a fire and how they move together and move apart so effortlessly, almost if by magic. There is a dance, and the dance is the dance of life. The dance of experience and understanding, the dance of autonomy and cooperation with others. There's a dance of the new and the old working together, the young and the elderly. This week, may you feel the sparks of fresh new energy, but may you also find meaning in these sparks, in these seeds. May what be sown be something that feels worth putting the effort into. And then the dance feels magical and just at the right time. Thank you, thank you, thank you to each and every one of you that show up here in any capacity that you were able to. Whether it's every week, we have people that are here every week, no matter what. Thank you. When you are able to show up here, thank you. If your contribution is sharing the meditation with somebody, thank you. Liking a post, sharing something, participating, thank you. And even those that send their love and support virtually in any capacity, thank you. I am blessed to say that this is going to be the 3rd year that we are going into doing these meditations, right? Weekly videos have been coming out since March, so we're going to be coming up on a year of that. None of this would be possible if it wasn't for all of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. New beginnings this week, new starts, new things initiating. Again, it's a process. So in the true Capricorn, earthly, Saturnian fashion, stick with it. And that's why there has to be meaning in what we are starting and initiating, right? Because there is work, there is effort that is going, there is going to be sacrifice, there is going to be times where you're going to be climbing that mountain and you feel like you are completely on your own. But what do you always have? You always have your breath, right? Even if you try to hold your breath and you stop, if you are consciously awake, your body will force you to breathe, right? Okay, so you always have your breath. And what do we remind ourselves at the beginning of the meditation? Your breath is your connection to the universe. So you always have that universal connection of whatever that connection means to you. It's individual for each and every one of us. Just as much as the astrology is individual for each and every one of us, right? It's not solid, it's not set. is not as black and white as this means that, this means that. Yes, there are guidelines, there are rules, there are systems within astrology that dance and intermingle and coalesce different dualities, light and dark, the alternation of light and dark, masculine and feminine. That is what the entire zodiacal wheel is made out of, right? But it's still vast, and our experiences and the way it plays out for each and every one of us is very, very different for each and every one of us here. So, yeah, I hope that it's as wonderful and lovely and enjoyable for you as it is for me in this space. So, yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, I think that's what I have for tonight. Take care, have a great week, and I will see you next Sunday. Next Friday, you can look for the intention. Next Saturday, a weekly video will be out. Take the intention with you as you watch the weekly video. If you missed yesterday's video, you can find that right here on YouTube as well. If you're watching on Facebook, hop over to YouTube and you can find the weekly video. There's a link on the Facebook page right to it. That's the whole breakdown. That's looking at all of the aspects individually and together and going day by day through the entire week. So, intention gives you a frame to start moving into. Weekly video sets it all up for you, explains everything. You can have the intention as you sit with that and just feel into where you feel it playing into your lives. If you know the house topics, great. If you don't know the house placements within your own chart, that's okay. Just think about the things that are being said and feel how it's playing out within your lives, right? We don't need to tell you this is playing out in your career area when you already know there's big things going on with work, right? Like you can figure those things out with yourself without necessarily knowing what the house is. Predictively, looking forward, yes, knowing the house topics is very helpful. But when you're in the thick of it, you don't necessarily have to know those little things, those details, right? It might help, it might make it feel like it makes more sense, but you don't need it necessarily. So, yeah, huge restarts for the Capricorn area of our chart. So our Capricorn heavy people, I have several of them that are around me. Big moves coming. So, yeah. Again, happy Sunday, happy 2026, happy January, happy Kazemi, happy, right? All right. Take care and have a good week. I will see you all next week. Bye, everybody.